right? That's one of the programs that Stack Up runs. We've already gotten the supply crates for Stack Up, which is fantastic. And now we've got this. Been playing games on computer since '81. Working on them since then as well. You played the whole time you were in the Navy. Continue now as a disabled Navy vet. That's amazing, Gary. Who would have thought video games would be so impactful? I certainly didn't. I just thought they'd be fun.
Remember when they always told us it's a waste of time?
Oh, that's all my parents ever said, yeah. That's all my parents ever said.
Or you'll never make money playing video games.
That too. And now my dad is like
I learned English.
So happy to, to brag about like me being a streamer, right? And Kadu, you said you learned English. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So once again, guys, if you're looking to donate, !charity. So I have to type in a chat. You get the link there. Go ahead and anything, 50 cents. I don't care. Put something in. Get yourself a tier 2 a brew. Evil Tree Sock, I saw that you've already gotten a brew. By all means, give that code to a friend if you want. 5 minutes to go until we get to our Stream Raiders battle.
I'm taking mine and putting it on my EU account.
Ah, there you go. So this is CaptainBadger. I chose this because... Oh, hi! I chose this because the subs have changed with results of patches and stuff, so it'd be interesting to see how things have changed with it. As we get into the battle, Badger, can you tell us a little bit about like what's changed and how it's changed for you?
I can start off by saying that they have most definitely not been nerfed. I don't know where people got the idea they've been nerfed. They have not even been close to nerfed. The new proxy fuse torpedoes are insanely effective at dealing with battleships and carriers because they provide about the same amount of damage as a Holland torpedo on steroids, but they're much faster.
Is this what you're using right now?
For most of this game, yeah, I'm using those proxy fuse torpedoes.
Okay, how can you change between them?
So you first, it's kind of like swapping shells with a battleship or anything else like that. You just go ahead and select a respective key, and it'll swap over. It usually starts out with the proxy fuse torpedoes selected, so you need to make sure that you're on magnetic torpedoes if you want to use those.
Okay. Now these are dumbfire torpedoes, so pinging does not do anything, correct?
It actually does do something. So they're technically not dumbfire. What they lack is horizontal tracking. They won't turn to track a target, but what they will do is track vertically. So if you're firing from maximum depth or operational depth and you've pinged a ship, they will track vertically to intercept it on the surface.
Okay.
I think the rate of ascent or descent is about the same as the magnetic torpedoes, but I haven't tested that. What a single ping does is reduce their detectability, which is, I think, 2.6 kilometers whereabouts, by about 20 or 25%. I'm honestly not sure. And then the second ping enables citadel damage.
Ah, okay, gotcha. So pinging is still very important, even if you're using proxy torps. Okay.
Yep, but there's a very real choice to using the ping or not with these proxy fuse torpedoes, as they are incredibly effective stealth weapons. They're a bit like the Shimikaze's long-range torpedoes, where they have incredibly bad detection, but they are high damage.
Okay. Hey, I just need to call out a couple of people recently. 8.06 donating $20. Chris Harris with 10. Thank you, veterans, he says. And then Pondy donating 10. Thank you so much, you guys. Fantastic. Now we're only $25 away from our next our next giveaway. $24.25. Thank you very much. Yes.
I'm just being annoying.
All good.
But with the standard magnetic torpedoes, they're typically better used against fast mobile targets like cruisers or destroyers. Single ping causes them to track, and then a double ping causes them to home in further on the target. So that really hasn't changed that much. They don't do citadel damage, but honestly, if you hit a ship with a full spread of 6 or so of those torpedoes, depending on the tier sub you're using, you're going to do plenty of damage to begin with.
Okay. Um, Darth asking how many vets we got in chat. If you're a vet, say so. Please sound off in chat. It'd be great to hear. So now you're going up to Periscope. You want to get an idea of where the Minotaur or the Montana is related to you, right? And the Hindenburg?
Yeah. So the first thing I did was I lit off my hydrophone to make sure I wasn't going to be ascending right underneath a ship.
Okay.
Dive capacity is still basically a submarine's HP bar. The green bar means nothing with submarines. It's the white bar.
Mm-hmm.
So I lit off the hydrophone to make sure there was nothing above me, and then I decided to go to periscope depth and get my bearings, see where that carrier was. My objective this game was to go deep and then just drive to the other side of the map and then hit their carrier, because most carrier players still decide to sit stationary.
Yep.
And that makes them the easiest sub target you could ever ask for. Subs are even more punishing of static gameplay now than they were before. Because the straight line torpedoes can be fired from stealth, you don't need to ping anything, and you will still do absolutely insane amounts of damage without even a Citadel ping.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot of people in chat saying that they're very service vets. Like, seriously, thank you guys for your service. I hope that we can continue being peacetime friends as opposed to wartime enemies. And it's so great seeing so many people involved in the armed forces. Sorry to cut you off, CaptainBadger. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. These guys deserve the thanks they get.
Damn right. So you're just going off on the side of the Hakuyu right now. You want to make it so it's as flat of a shot as possible for your torpedoes.
Yep. I want to make it as textbook a torpedo shot as I can, and I have all the time in the world to do it, so I'm making it work.
And you just fired off proximity torpedoes?
Not yet. What I did was I pinged them. Now I fired them off. That's right. You have a delay on the stream.
Just a little bit. So it looks like they are turning a little bit, though, right?
They do not. They do not turn at all.
So the Hakuryu moved forward into them.
Yep, I aimed.
Oh!
I knew the AI was going to begin accelerating, so I wanted to make sure that it accelerated, and there it is. So I pinged him initially while I was at periscope depth to make his damage control light off, and as I was getting in position, that was while it was running down. When it ran down, double ping, Citadel, no more carrier in the game.
Right, right. Gary with your $1. Thank you, Gary. Seriously. Really do appreciate that, man.
Yep.
Okay, Montana Tech Torps, he's probably DCP'd?
Yep. And, yeah.
So this is crazy. You literally sailed underneath the enemy and then came up behind them and then killed the carrier, and now you're killing the enemy that's supposedly preventing any sort of movement into their backfield.
Supposedly. See, at maximum depth, a submarine still can't be detected by anything other than another submarine. This is why sub-v-sub combat is something you usually want to avoid, because it is impossible to run out of the detection range of a hydrophone unless you're at periscope depth. See, the barrier between periscope and operational / maximum depth is I call it the thermal layer, where the hydrophone will no longer detect the submarine. So either you're above that or below that, and here this Hindenburg gets what he's coming to him.
Oh my god. Chaos, does it cost money to place units for streamers? No, it does not. All you have to do is click the link there and place a unit if you want to. This is optional. You don't feel like you have to, of course.
And now I've made everybody angry, so I go deep and I reposition. Submarines aren't even close to broken. What are you talking about, dude? I literally spent about half the game just going deep and being a complete non-contributor in an objective to go after the carrier.
Wow. So, I mean, submarines are a very risk-reward kind of ship, right? Like,
very.
Yeah, and like a lot of people say they're broken because they don't know how to counter them.
Exactly. Submarines are heavily reliant on their stealth. Actually, totally reliant on their stealth. If they are spotted, they are dead, for all intents and purposes. If they remain spotted.
Exact feeling. I played.
That's why I say the dive capacity on a submarine is its HP bar. That green bar means absolutely nothing. So dive capacity is life for a submarine. The moment you spot it is the moment it starts draining that dive capacity at 3.5 times faster than normal rates.
I'm just taking a moment. Somebody in chat said, what a death pick, and I agree with you. Look at this. A German sub with a German cruiser in the background sinking. Like, that's a wallpaper right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's a freaking wallpaper right there. All right, let's get back to the game. I wish I caught it earlier, but that's okay. So now you're on Hydro. That's the Zhao's Hydro. Are you afraid about Hydro?
I am concerned about it. Hydroacoustic is an incredibly powerful tool against submarines, but I decided to just commit at this point because the Zhao's turrets are not pointing at me. I'm already ascending to periscope depth, and I have my torpedoes ready to go, so I decided to just go ahead and commit and make it happen.
You're using homing torpedoes now.
Yes, because he's almost dead already, so I just decided to go ahead and use them.
Okay. Alright, it is time for Puddin to draw his Chocolov giveaway, and it's time for us to start our next giveaway, which is going to be our subscriber camouflage, Stingray 103. Thank you so much for gifting, for donating $25. Fantastic. Guys, we are now under $100 away from giving away a Benham. Under $100 away. Just let that sit in for a second. All right, now you're going to surface so that you can recharge your batteries. Is that correct?
Exactly. I decided to take a breather here because my torpedoes are reloading. These ships are almost dead. I decided to just go ahead and farm some spotting damage while I let my batteries recharge, and that way I'm able to contribute if somehow these guys manage to turn the game around.
Now, you do have a reserve battery unit consumable, but if I remember right, you do not regenerate energy while that is active. Correct?
While it's active, if you're on the surface, no, it does not regenerate. So it freezes battery usage, period. If you're submerged, you consume battery. If you're surfaced, you won't regenerate battery.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's for 30 seconds or so, depending on which modules and skills you have.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's game. I mean, what a fantastic... So what I love about this, whether you like subs or not, I think it's important to get a window into how they play and what they do.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't really care for subs much at all, but, you know, so you don't get drained fast. Well, you do if you're spotted, the Lupus. That's the key, is being spotted.
That's why carriers and submarines are basically hard counters for each other. Carriers can spot submarines with impunity. They don't have to risk themselves the way destroyers have to. Right. Destroyers are right below carriers in terms of most effective counter. Like most people don't know, RPF will detect a submarine at any depth except maximum depth. A destroyer with RPF can track a submarine while it is at anywhere above maximum depth.
Okay.
Same for cruisers.
I will be right back, guys. Please don't hit 2,000 before I come back from the litter box. I don't have time to pull yet. I gotta go. Right back.
Okay.
Oh God! Somebody please do it.
Please
DM,
so she doesn't get in on the air side or bam giveaway.
DM31 gifting $25. Thank you so much, DM. And hey, CaptainBadger, thanks for joining us for this. This is really good information because a lot of people don't really understand subs right now. I think some people are hoping that subs will not enter the game. So
we already have a premium tier 8 Soviet submarine coming in. They are coming. This is a fact.
So the problem with that is, if it's at the point where it's coming in, what you need to do, I think, as players, is learn how to counter submarines. CaptainBadger, if I can ask you real quick, just a quick 30-second. How do you how are you countered in a submarine?
How am I countered in a submarine? Spotting. Anything spots me, I immediately have to go to maximum depth and reposition.
Okay.
If a destroyer has RPF or a cruiser has RPF, anytime I come above maximum depth, they are capable of tracking me and they can just hunt me down. They will know where I am.
Okay.
Submarines are also hard countered by proper ASW airstrike usage. Battleships are probably... They're not the best equipped, but they're very well equipped to deal with submarines because they have the longest range on their ASW airstrikes.
Yep.
And if you take the anti-air skills on battleships augment the damage and reload rate of the ASW airstrikes on battleships.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, my Shikishima, my Japanese, their airstrikes run a significantly higher damage than you might expect with a very short cooldown relative. British battleships, the Conqueror gets 3 ASW airstrikes instead of the typical 2 or 1 with some other nations. So they get 3 charges of ASW airstrikes to use against submarines.
Blood God, you donated $1. I see that. Thank you very much. I'm not going to say your real name, but appreciate it, dude. Seriously, that's amazing. And you're right. Spotting comes down to absolutely 100% spotting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Find the sub, keep the sub lit. If you can't ASW it to hell, I think the ultimate irony here is that battleship and cruiser ASW is stronger than destroyer ASW simply because...
Actually, not true. So
Really?
destroyer depth charges are the most powerful way of dealing with a submarine because they are
Well, sure.
direct application.
Sure.
Battleship and cruiser ASW strikes have a fixed vertical dispersion, so they drop 4 to 6 charges, depth
Right.
charges per strike. But
Right.
they don't change their vertical dispersion, so that leaves large gaps between each drop area for a
Okay.
submarine to fit into and avoid taking damage altogether. Destroyers, they can just drive over a submarine and keep dropping depth charges.
But the hard part is that destroyer getting over the sub, and I think that's
Exactly.
where the difficulty comes into play, and that's why I always feel like battleships and cruisers have the best ASW because you just launch your planes, and there's no real counterplay for the sub, right?
Well, the
You just
counterplay is that the submarine moves. A lot of submarine players are still trying to play the rocking chair game that battleships do, where they just go forward and backward, and they can't do that. That's opening themselves up to being hit by ASW airstrikes. That's opening themselves up to being pinpointed by a smart team player who is in a destroyer or something. A submarine has to be very mobile, or else it lets itself be cornered, basically, underwater.
Got it. Okay. All right.
And most of my deaths and subs are because I got a little too close to a destroyer or to a battleship.
Yep.
And then
Got it.
proceed to get spotted.
Yep. And then
At some
then
point.
then you're gone. And if a carrier
Yep.
spots you, it's good. It's GG unless you can dive,
Yes.
and then get out of there.
You
So-
have to go maximum depth in a submarine if you're spotted. You have no choice. Even the German ones with their ability to delay dive capacity usage have to go to maximum depth because
Right.
if you stay at periscope depth or whatever, you're vulnerable to pinpoint strikes of ASW aircraft.
Right.
You gonna start that stream later or just stare at it?
So let's start it. Absolutely. We're going to do a minute and a half ad. I just wanted to finish our talk about subs because I wanted to make sure that's included in part of the talk when it goes off to YouTube. So CaptainBadger, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just one last note: there's a lot more nuance than I'm able to distribute
absolutely.
here to
Absolutely.
submarines.
Absolutely, yes. And if you guys are looking
Yeah.
for somebody to check out, make sure you check out Oskans. I'm going to go ahead and shout him out. Because he does do a lot with technical stuff, especially with submarines and that sort of deal. Check him out there. Interesting, that's me in the video, and he wasn't in the video. Huh.